have with us Jeremy Dixon, our favorite cook, the author of the Revive Cafe cookbooks. So you can learn how to cook beautiful, healthy foods, plant-based in 30 minutes or less. And he's today with us for a tour around the world. And today I believe that we are going back to Italy, aren't we, Jeremy? Good morning to you, my friend. For those of you who missed it, last that we spoke to Jeremy, we were talking about Italy. We're doing a tour around the world and how to make foods that are true to their identity yet healthier. So, Jeremy, it's great to have you, brother. How are you going?
Mighty fine.
Excellent. So, Jeremy, we're still in Italy, aren't we? So we are walking around the streets of Rome, seeing the beautiful stone buildings, and we're sitting down to eat something nice and healthy. So, what are you teaching for our listeners today?
Well, last week we talked about beautiful tomato sauces with lots of garlic, basil pesto. This time I thought we probably should start off talking about pizza.
Wow. Okay. I was looking forward to this day. So how can we make pizza and what's the healthy spin that we can make? So, because look, it's hard to reinvent a classic, right? So, but we can still try and we can still make it healthier. So what's your take on that?
Exactly. Yeah, well, obviously, pizza is just full of white flour and huge amounts of cheese and obviously meat. So my kind of healthy take on a pizza is a chickpea pizza. And that's where you basically make a different base made out of chickpeas.
Okay, how does that work? So where do we start?
So you want to start getting 3 cups of chickpea flour, and that can be called besan flour or chana flour. So go to your Indian shop. So mix 3 cups of flour with 3 cups of water. And that's kind of the base, and stir it up so it's nice and it will seem waterier than you think it should be, but that's fine. And then you can add some flavorings like onion powder or garlic powder. And then you put that in an oven tray. So get an oven tray and put some baking paper in it. Pour this mixture in. So it's probably about 2 or 3 or 4 millimeters thick.
Okay, so it's a bit runny.
Throw that in the oven.
It's supposed to be a little bit
runny. It is very runny.
Yeah.
So you've got to be quite careful, but it's fine. Just take your care. I'd also need some oil to add into the mix as well. So then you throw that in your oven for 180 degrees for about 15 minutes, and that'll really bake through and become this really nice chickpea texture. And you can either leave it quite moist and kind of not cook it long, or if you cook it for longer, it becomes a bit crispier. So it's quite versatile.
Okay.
So you cook that, and then you've got your base sorted out, and then you can throw your toppings on top. So you can throw like a nice tomato sauce, some spinach, or even some vegan cheese on top of it, and basically use that as the base for your pizza. And then you throw it back in the oven just to kind of, warm up the tomato sauce and the other items, as you would with a normal pizza. And that's just a really cool, and obviously there's millions of styles of pizzas you can make. You can throw olives on it, hummus on it, plenty of vegetables. So it's really fun.
Wow, okay. Chickpea pizza. Actually, I had that chickpea pizza before, and let me tell you, it is absolutely delicious. It's really good. I do not know how it hasn't yet become mainstream. So thanks for that recipe. What's the next one?
Well, I thought we'd talk about lasagnas, which is a very Italian dish.
There's nothing better than a lasagna. Nothing better.
Particularly in the middle of winter. So they can be time-consuming. So you need a little bit of extra time to make them good. So it's just basically layering up different layers. So again, make up the tomato sauce we discussed last week, which is like a really garlic-heavy tomato sauce. And then basically get your dish. So you put a couple of spoonfuls of tomato sauce, put your lasagna sheets on. And today there's heaps of wholemeal lasagna sheets, gluten-free lasagna sheets. So there's plenty of healthy options you can get rather than white flour ones. And then obviously for every layer you want to put some moisture, so a bit of tomato sauce again, a layer of roasted pumpkin, put some more tomato sauce on, another lasagna sheet. Then you can put in some other vegetables in there if you want. I quite like doing layers of cashew sauce. So basically cashews and water blended up is quite nice. And then for a meat side of things, if you want, you can do a layer of tomato sauce. And my 2 favourite kind of pretend meaty ingredients for lasagna is either brown lentils, and they're really nice when you add a little bit of sage to them. It kind of meaties them up a little bit. or just some basic TVP. Just mix them with tomato sauce, and it gives you kind of more a bolognese kind of style sauce.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of lay your pasta up. The top, you want to make sure you put a good dosing of cashew cheese if you kind of want a creamy one. If not, you can just put tomato sauce and then throw it in the oven for probably 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the size of your ingredients. And there is a great vegan, vegetarian, healthy, super delicious lasagna.
So when you throw the lasagna into the oven, do you need to cover it with an aluminum foil? Is that I remember my mother used to do that. Is that something that you need to do, or can you just put it there uncovered?
It depends. I mean, if your oven, some ovens burn quite a lot. So if your oven burns, if you've got like a good fan oven with no kind of hot spots, you'll most likely be okay. We generally don't. I generally don't cover my lasagnas with tin foil.
And then, but what kind of oven settings are we talking about? Do you do the fan forced ones, or just the bottom element, top element, both? What's the best?
I generally put. I'll be in the middle of the oven, probably about 180 to 200. And one thing, I don't know if you've ever measured the temperatures inside your oven, but household ovens are just all over the place. And that's why you need to know your oven, because what it says on the dial, it says 180. It could be between 150 and 210 depending on the oven. So and also different parts of the oven. So we've had problems before we analyse these things. And the different parts of the oven can be like 10, 20 degrees, even 30 degrees different.
Okay.
And you can have some areas that have more fan action and some that don't. So some of the newer modern ovens have got most of that worked out, but particularly some of the older ovens are just absolutely very inaccurate. So it's just about knowing your oven.
Okay, very good. All right, so we talked about pizza, we talked about lasagna. What's the next item in our list?
I thought I'd go do a bit of dessert.
Okay.
And obviously one thing that's quite nice when you walk through the streets of Rome is getting some gelato on a nice hot day.
Man, that's the best thing ever.
So I mean, gelato is effectively like a style of ice cream. And obviously gelato is generally full of huge amounts of cream and things. Not want to make you guilty or anything about eating it, but yeah, I love making ice cream in my Magimix with just a blender or a food processor. And again, it's just frozen fruit. Particularly a really good recipe would be a mango one. So get some frozen mango, throw that in there with some cashew butter or cashew nuts to kind of give some creaminess. Depending on the mango, you might want a little bit of extra sweetener like maple syrup, depending on how sweet it is. And one thing I really love with my mango gelato style things is I just throw in a whole lime. So you've got the juice from the lime, and then you've got the pith, and then you've actually got the skin as well and the peel. And you end up with kind of a little bit through it, and you get this really zesty kind of feel through it.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me process my head around it. You say that you're throwing an entire lime, including the peel? So how do you do it? So you cut it in quarters or something, or just check the whole?
I just put it. If it's a big one, I might use half a lime, but if it's a small lime, I'll just chop off the end bits, cut it in half, and just put it in the blender and blend it up with everything else.
Wow, but doesn't that make your sorbet a bit bitter?
Not really. I mean, that's kind of the experience you're going for. You're kind of going for a zesty, tangy, bittery type thing. So,
wow.
I mean, look,
definitely want to try these.
The chefs of Italy. Yeah, I mean, if I was talking about this in Italy, I'd probably have the mafia ask me about now. So it's probably not very Italian, but I find it creates a really nice kind of sorbet.
It. And plus, the zest is good for you. It's healthy too. So I love that twist.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta try
all the beautiful oils are great. Yeah.
And what about if I want to do a gelato at home with a bit more of a chocolatey taste to it? Like, what would you do?
Yes, I would do. So if I was going to do a chocolate one, I'd do frozen banana, some raw cacao powder, and some cashew nuts or cashew butter, or you could use almonds or almond butter, and I'd blend that up and then just adjust that to taste.
Okay. And
so you want to make sure you
Yeah, go ahead.
You go.
No, I was going to ask you, do you add something like milk or something like soy milk or something like that to adjust the texture, or is that not really necessary?
Sorry, yes. Sorry. I'd add some milk, some plant-based milk.
Okay.
Or if you're using cashew nuts, you can just add water because you're effectively if you've got water in there and cashew nuts or cashew butter, you've effectively got cashew milk.
Okay.
So you can choose whether you want to add milk or just add water.
What about coconut cream? Is that good for making gelatos? Do you have any sort of a word of advice or warning regarding
Definitely.
milk?
Definitely. It'll make it goes very well with the mango. My only thing with coconut is it does have quite a strong flavour, so you want to match it intentionally with flavours. You don't kind of want to throw it in everything because I'm not a big fan of too much coconut in everything. It's great when you need it and you want it or it goes with it.
Okay.
But I'm not a big fan of just throwing it willy-nilly into everything.
Oh, okay. Yes, that makes sense. Oh, that sounds amazing. Okay, so we spoke about pizza. We spoke about lasagna. We went to gelatos. What about salads? We haven't spoken much about salads. Do you have any good Italian salad-style recipe for us?
Yeah, so we do an Italian chickpea salad at the cafe, which is really, really lovely. And again, I'm not sure how traditional Italian, but we're kind of borrowing from Italy. So again, you just cook your chickpeas up. And again, I think I've probably educated you a few times about cooking your own chickpeas and putting them in the freezer, how much cheaper it is and more delicious than canned chickpeas. So basically some chickpeas. And then you want to throw in some really beautiful Italian things. So sun-dried tomatoes, some Kalamata olives.
Mm-hmm.
And I generally buy my olives out of the pit. So I'm not a fan of having stones in food. So just Kalamata olives. Some red capsicum sliced up really finely. And those are just all you need in there. And then basically make an Italian dressing with a bit of salt, lemon juice, balsamic vinegar, oil, and honey. Mix that around and stir it through, and then a bit of Italian parsley on top. And that's just a really delicious salad. The kind of sun-dried tomatoes, the olives, and the capsicum just go together really nicely. And that's from my first cookbook.
So you're using the fresh capsicum or the preserved ones?
You could use either. We use fresh one, but you can actually get some really nice kind of canned or bottled capsicums that are kind of marinated in oil as well. So a bit of that would actually be quite nice as well.
Okay. And remind me about how to cook your own chickpeas, because I remember you mentioning that you're not a big fan of having to leave things soaking overnight for most recipes. So if you're not soaking chickpeas overnight, what is the best method to cook it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I don't mind soaking chickpeas overnight. It's just kind of recipes, because some recipes you have to soak the almonds, then you need to blend them, then put it in the fridge overnight. So I'm not a big fan of those kind of multi-day recipes.
Yes.
So for chickpeas, that is one thing you do need to soak overnight. So basically what I do is I get a big pot, put some hard chickpeas in them, put a whole lot of water, and you need about 3 times as much water than chickpeas. They expand. So soak them overnight, or for about 8 hours, and then cook them in the pot. They usually take between about 30 minutes and 2 hours, depending on how old they are. And then once they're cooked, you drain them and then just put them in little containers in your freezer. And they're just available anytime to make salads, throw in curries, make hummus.
Oh, yes.
And you just basically rinse them under a little bit of hot water and in a sieve. And within like about 30 seconds, you've got beautiful fresh chickpeas ready to add to whatever you're doing. And when I've ever costed it, when I've ever compared the costings, I haven't done it lately, but last time I compared it, compared to a can of chickpeas, if you do the equivalent yourself, it's about 1/10 the cost.
Oh, really? That's amazing, because usually the tinned food, they tend to be fairly cheap. But if you're telling me that chickpeas would cost like even less if you're cooking yourself, that's a big win for the budget.
Definitely, yeah. So there's no excuse for, there's just a little bit of extra work and a little preparation and putting some stuff in your freezer. So that's
very good.
A great way of having, and it was also do the same things with beans and lentils as well. So you've got things ready to go.
Amazing. Jeremy, thank you so much. I really enjoyed our tour in Italy. I'm looking forward to find out where are we going next time that we speak to you. So have a great day. And for all of our listeners, if you missed any details here, you can jump on faithfm.com.au and you can find all of Jeremy's interviews there.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.